This is Create the Next from Pro CFO Partners, where every week we explore strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help today's businesses put their financial picture in context.
Chris Bentliff back with you at Create the Next from Pro CFO Partners, and we've got Gerry Quinn back with us in the hot seat. And Gerry, we're talking today about systems and processes. And specifically, I think when organizations have some kind of systems and processes in place, and how are those things keeping pace with change, whether that's change in size or business dynamics or scope or whatever. So before we dig in, help me understand from your point of view, what do you think we're talking about when we talk about the systems and processes that help run an organization from a financial functions perspective?
Sure, Chris. Really, when you're talking about systems and processes, a lot of times you're talking about that line of business application, that one point of truth that your information is stored in, and those processes that you need, whether it's from marketing, sales, manufacturing, through accounting, that have to tie in and have that store of information that tells you what's going on within the company. It can let you get to that reporting piece of it. Those processes and those standardized pieces that you have to do to be able to collect that information, tell you how you're doing in the business. Does
this exist in a spreadsheet? Are you talking about my QuickBooks? Are you talking about my email service provider? What's some examples that I can kind of understand that I'm probably using in my business?
Sure, and I think it's all of those things. Mm-hmm. I think it depends on the size of the business. I think companies start out with their email and that Excel spreadsheet, and a smaller company may start out with a QuickBooks Online or some almost outsourced piece of it in the cloud. Have to set those up, but they can grow into things as SAP and these extremely large with deep information to be pulled out of them.
So if I think about it from let's say a sales CRM perspective, I might start with something that is spreadsheets. I mean, it might just be one or two of us that are working on things and we're working on spreadsheets, but over time I might need something robust like a Salesforce or, some kind of an online CRM that's really strong and sophisticated. How do I know, what are some of the telltale pain points I'm experiencing when it's time for me to start to think about scaling up what I'm doing?
Well, much of it, when you talk about those spreadsheets that become applications or line of business applications, that information, you talk about CRM and you go back to what used to be originally like Rolodex information, was name, address, and whatever. And it's grown out for many industries into drip marketing, email responses, a whole bunch of automation. But how do you know when you have a problem? Well, you start to get inaccurate or incomplete information. You can't maintain it. You find out you have redundant processes or process repetition that I'm putting in this spreadsheet, but then I also have to put it over here into a different system, those interconnected pieces of it. You start to get, depending on that system that's used by one person or a department or maybe the whole enterprise, you start to get end user complaints. And you find out that you have a list of workarounds for your system, that spreadsheet that one person had access to, now it's somewhere else. There are a lot of telltale signs, and that inability to grow with it as requirements change.
I think the human element is a big part of that. I think about in my own work as a marketer, how I've worked with companies who, please hand us your PDF. Or they ask for somebody to fill something out, which then needs to go to a human being, who then moves it to another human being. And every point of contact in that is a point of failure. Somebody forgets it on their desk or spills their coffee on it, or they go on vacation and it can't be dealt with until they get back. How many times have people heard that? Well, the person who deals with that is on vacation. Like, these things all shouldn't be in the cloud. And I think that's an important point when you talk about the customer experience. We as customers have an increasing expectation that this stuff will just be frictionless, that I'll be able to get in a chat bot and have my question answered quickly because somewhere somebody's going to pull this stuff up. If I'm not doing that, what are the risks for me as a business if I'm not thinking ahead in some of those ways, especially in the competitive field where others might be? What are some of the things that I might be experiencing negatively?
Well, obviously, is that connection with the customer, that relationship, that piece that you want it to be frictionless. That when they come from your website to a contact to your CRM, that it ties out and that order gets turned around and out the door if that's your business, or that service piece that you're not missing a meeting or missing something else because you had it in a wrong spreadsheet or some piece of it, or you can't collaborate as an organization. That meeting or someone else you need to get involved doesn't know the current status of whatever that project or process is that you're working on.
So this idea of touch points and at a moment's notice and anybody can access it. So do you have some advice for me if I am that person who's in spreadsheets and it really hasn't occurred to me that I should be thinking bigger than that? Or when we got started in the business, we got some online, in the cloud accounting system that seems to have been working fine, but now I'm starting to get some interesting ideas as you're talking. What are some ways I should start thinking about at a beginning point, systems and processes with an automation perspective?
There are different techniques out there, different things that people use, whether it's lean manufacturing or even lean office practices, some other pieces of it. There's kind of that ability to step back. One of the reasons that companies don't necessarily have that ability to grow is you're spending your time, you're sacrificing innovation for that manual labor. That I'm up to here. I don't have the time to step back and look at it and reinvent that process. See that, how do I take those friction points out, those bottlenecks out of that productivity? And again, speed is of the essence for all businesses now. As you said, those customer expectations. You want to speed up turnaround times for those customer facing processes, for you want to boost that customer satisfaction by improving those processes and removing those redundant processes, those checks and balances that tend to grow over time that may make that process that much more time consuming.
What are some of you mentioned time, and I'm wondering what you think some of the kind of key performance indicators of this are. How do I know I'm doing it right? Is it a time savings? Is it I'm not having to pay 3 extra people to do the things that a piece of software can do? Or what should I be thinking about?
Well, you're trying to identify where your bottlenecks would be early, so that you can track and report on processes. And what you're really trying to do is get those staff members, those valuable staff members, not spending their time on rote processes, on repeatable processes, on that kind of busy work, and let them focus on more strategic initiatives, that those higher value revenue generating activities.
Do you have some illustrations? Who have you worked with, or what kind of projects have you been involved in where you onboarded or you started or you helped innovate around some of these things, and what were some of the business impacts or some of the transformation that came from thinking differently or in new ways about systems and processes?
Sure. So one of the things is you mentioned CRM, and that idea of CRM having that someone comes to a website. If the website is connected to your CRM, you can respond to them much quicker. If it's connected to your ERP system, what I've worked with on some projects, that the orders that were taken and even samples that we took through the CRM system allowed us to deliver to that customer quicker on a free sample. If they had the sample sooner, maybe we'd get the order placed sooner. They could ask more questions based on having that product in their hands that they could talk to with and about. From a financial perspective, it's getting those orders in the system. It's that self-service for our customer. As you said, that frictionless piece, they come in, they can look at the information's there. That document control, that enterprise content management. You're not having to put it in Excel, then put it in a PDF, then put it in something else. That's all part of your process. That it's seamless.
Some of what you're talking about, again, as a marketer, I spend a lot of time helping folks realize that their website isn't just the thing that people can see. It's all these inner pieces that are connected behind the scenes. But you might expect that from me, a digital marketer. Some of what you're describing almost sounds like IT or components that have to do with technology. I maybe wouldn't expect my CFO to be sitting at the center of that, to be a cog in that wheel. Help me understand that. Should I be thinking about what role my CFO has? Because the CFO has a unique perspective on all these different dynamics and interdepartmental relationships and business units and how they can connect. Should my CFO have more of a leadership role in helping me understand my systems and processes?
I think there's no doubt going forward that the CFO role should be looking at that future piece of it. That idea that your website may drive a significant portion of your revenue. Your CFO may be involved in even how you take payments, that, whether it's that credit card piece of it, how you analyze the data that comes off of that website. So if I'm forecasting or trying to do a better forecast for the future, I want to have all those demographics, what those orders are, how many times someone has come to the website and how long they spend on it. Who's my demographic of that customer that's coming through? I know that sounds like marketing, but if your CFO understands that, it's more than accounting.
Which is just
the same applies for billing and where your expenses are going.
The CFO role has the perspective of it has evolved so dramatically. It's such an important sort of they sit at so much potential information, and then what to do with all that information. It's such a key function that goes so much farther beyond show me some charts and graphs and let me see what the P&L looks like. And it's invigorating to think that you've got somebody potentially in your business who can help you think in completely new ways about these time and energy savings and efficiencies.
When you're looking at those processes and systems to do that, your accounting department shouldn't be at the back end just approving bills. Okay, that idea of understanding what's going on within the business, where is these revenue pieces coming from, that strategic viewpoint of where is that revenue coming from, where is your dollars being spent, and is there a better place to spend it? It's got to be part of that team effort. Not that the CFO is leading that, but they're aware and they understand what's going on in the different departments.
And the relationship that all these other potential systems and processes have in making those things more effective, more efficient.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Gerry Quinn, for joining us again today. Learned a lot, and I think gave our listeners a lot to think about around what kind of systems and processes they might currently be or not be engaging in, and how to continue to go. I hope you'll come back and dig in with this another time on us.
Great. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one today. Visit ProCFOPartners.com for more strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help you put your business's financial picture in context.